The spirit that haunts the dark mountains in Filipino folklore is not a monster, it is a law. The creatures we call the Maligno, the Encanto. They are the most ancient forms of environmental protection that ever existed. In our latest story, we saw hikers suffer a terrible curse on the prominent Philippine mountain, Pico de Loro, or Parrot's Beak, after they treated the sacred space with profound disrespect. But if you strip away the terror, the root of the Maligno's power is simple. It is the natural consequence for carelessness. Before science, before organized government, our Filipino elders needed a way to protect the limited resources of the jungle and the mountain. How do you stop a community from fouling the river or cutting down the sacred? Baleda. You don't pass a law. You pass a story. The Maligno stories were handed down not to instill fear of shadows, but to enforce humility, reverence, and sustainability. To say Tabi Tabi Po, excuse me, before entering nature's home was to acknowledge that you are a temporary guest. That humility was the key to their survival. The curse itself was a terrifying lesson handed down by our elders. What happens if we are careless with the mountain? We will end up as an evening story shared over dinner. Just like the stories of those who went into the woods and returned as a banana trunk. You might even speak to them, but they cannot acknowledge you. Or like the story of a relative lost in Visayas, you may be diverted for almost a whole day, seeing only tall grasses and unable to find the road. When the person appeared and offered food and rest, he refused, and that refusal is what saved him. The Maligno gave ancient law a truly horrifying face. Now, in our modern life, where does the Maligno live? It lives in the anxiety we suffer when we forget our own boundaries. It lives in the burnout we suffer when we treat our body like an endless resource. It lives in the climate crisis when we fail to respect the planet's boundaries. This tender hour asks, if we could apply the ancient reverence of the Maligno to our modern life, if we could only learn to say, Tabi Tabi Po, to our time, to our energy, and to the earth, what curses could we lift? Again, this is your tender hour. May you find peace by restoring balance in nature, and may you always remember the humility to say Tabi Tabi Po to the earth.